Hi there, this is Solitary Ronin from Solitary Ronin Films, and welcome to a random review. Today's random review comes from 2021. Can you believe it? A modern film. This is from China, and this is Journey to the West. And sorry, but this is another Kani release. Kani might have actually overtaken Deaf Crocodile in Canadian International Pictures as my favourite Vinegar Syndrome partner label. They're all battling it out for that title. And this may have also taken over as my favourite film that I've watched so far this year. It's absolutely fabulous. Directed by Kong Deshan, who I'm not familiar with, probably because he's modern. But I'll hopefully try and see a few more of his films. I think he's only made about 5. This stars Hayu Yang, who gives just a phenomenal performance, an absolutely brilliant performance as Mr. Tang. Also stars Ai Lia, Roy Wang, Jimmy Jiang, and Sheng Chen. Obviously, I've mispronounced all of them, and apologise to all their family members. This is a mockumentary, if you will, because it's about a UFO hunter. You could perhaps call it a spockumentary. I'll just leave that there. The film starts in 1990, where we see a young, eager Mr. Tang, very excited about looking to the stars and finding alien life. And then we cut to 30 years later, and he's a shell of his former self. He still runs a magazine. They still investigate reports of UFO sightings. He doesn't live with his wife and daughter anymore. We see his apartment. It's falling apart. The office where the magazine is falling apart. They're desperate for money. They can't keep the heating going. They're trying to get money from sponsorship deals, which involves pimping out their authentic spacesuit companies, much against Mr. Tang's will and wishes, but his assistant, or his second in command, she has more of an idea about reality, and she just wants him to kind of get back to normal life, but he still has this dream of finding alien life. Now, this film is a comedy, even though it doesn't kind of shy away from the tragedy of the situation. It's a film that there are laugh out loud moments, but it's also quite moving. And again, at times you want to give Mr. Tang a slap and a shake, but it's so beautifully acted, as I said. Hayu Yang, who plays Mr. Tang, it's an absolutely phenomenal performance, because it's on the perfect side of that thin line of a character that, yes, you want to slap and you want to give a shake, and you can see that he can't see the damage he's doing to the people around him, the people who work in the office, these second in charge, if you like. But you also, unless you're a psychopath, you also have compassion for the man. You have empathy for him. In some way, you want there to be alien life so he can be happy, because he is just living an absolutely miserable life. Everybody is against him. Everybody says he's useless at everything. But he has a television at home which is just white noise, but he can read the white noise. He lectures in mental institutions for whatever money they can get to keep the magazine going, and then he hears or sees this video that this guy has taken. So the film then becomes a road movie with him and the second in command, who's always questioning him, always trying to get him back to reality. But she goes along because amongst all the abuse, she does actually care about him, even though it might not seem that way. And then he brings along this guy who works at the observatory, who has got a serious drinking problem. He's just a young guy. His job is sending weather balloons up from the observatory. But he drinks a lot and passes out a lot. And they meet up with a younger girl who's more local to the area, and she has the dream of finding aliens as well. So the four of them get to a certain point and find this farmer that took the video, and he has evidence of an alien body. They move on further to this village where this light theoretically came from, and we have this story of two stone lions with stone balls in their mouth, not those kind of balls. And one night there was a bright light, a glowing entity, and one of the stone balls was removed from the lion's mouth. We meet a character who has a pot in his head, who's a little bit odd and gets signals and passes out quite a lot, obviously comic effect, and it is quite funny. There's also a red-capped character who's a meteorite hunter, and he rides around in a little spaceship, which at times has no brakes. This is all true, by the way. This is actually the plot of the film. And as I say, it becomes a road trip as Mr. Tang is desperate to follow and investigate this lead. But as I said, it's a very funny film, but it is a sad film, and it does have a really emotional ending. It has one of the great donkey performances outside of Balthazar from Bresson's O Hazard Balthazar. It possibly has the second greatest donkey performance. The characters from Monkey turn up as Journey to the West, and that's what that story was called. So the characters from Monkey appear. The times where the drunk guy and the boy with the pot in his head pass out, it's always funny. It's directed, as I say, it's meant to be a documentary crew that are following them around. There's actually an intro on the disc by the director, and all he says is, if you've got motion sickness, maybe sit at the back when you're watching the film. But it's not actually that much shaky cam. It's not actually that much shaky cam at all. It's fairly, it is well shot. It's subtly acted, subtly shot. It's almost kind of the like Close Encounters of the Third Kind, or the anti kind of Hollywood alien hunting films. It's the character moments that count. It's the relationship between all these characters. Again, as I said, there's laugh out loud moments, and it even goes all Terrence Malick at the end as well. It's just an absolute stunning piece of work. Kong Dashin was only born in 1990, so he's pretty young, but he has made an absolutely phenomenal film. I haven't told you everything because that would be spoiling it. It's 117 minutes, but really it could have easily been another 5 hours longer, because again, as much as Mr. Tang can be annoying, and he's just so beaten down by the last 30 years of just failing and not finding what he wants to. Again, you do want to give him a shake, but there's also times where you want to hug him, and it's very similar to Spinal Tap in that way of, yes, you can laugh at these characters, but you don't laugh at them in a nasty way. They're still endearing, and that's such a fine line. When you're doing comedy or a mockumentary or whatever, that is a very thin line between laughing at the characters in a really disparaging way, but still having those characters endearing and you have compassion for them. And certainly I had empathy with Mr. Tang, which makes the ending all the more emotional. As with all the Kani films, you do get a booklet, and there's the disc with a nice shot of the television and the white noise. As far as extras, it just has an introduction, as I said, where he pretty much says just don't sit too close to the screen if you've got motion sickness. But again, there's not that much shaky cam in it. An interview with him from 2023, which is 24 minutes, which is from his hometown. Another thing I would say is the Chinese countryside where they shoot does look beautiful. There's kind of an abandoned mine they go to. There's an old stone factory that makes stone lions and Buddhas, and that's a very nice scene. There's beautiful scenes in a cave paintings, some beautiful forests. So it's a road movie, it's a comedy, but again it is tragic and sad at the same time, and it is just played to perfection by the cast. You care about everybody, you want to see them succeed even though their final goal might not be possible or not. It takes its time, and again, as I said, it could be longer and I wouldn't really have a problem with it, because again, these people are people you want to spend time with. And again, certain other countries with certain other film industries, that seems to have been a lost art, creating characters that you actually want to spend time with, characters that you think about once the film's finished, rather than just, oh yeah, I can't actually remember anything about those characters, or I was glad when they died or glad when they disappeared, they meant nothing to me. It's such a, well, it seems nowadays it's such a difficult thing to do, to actually create characters that are endearing, that you have compassion for, even when they are mistaken, or even when they make mistakes, or even when they're not doing things that are useful to the people around them. It's just full of little touches, little character moments that are just wonderful, and as I said, it's full of comedy gold, but it does have a heart, which again seems to be missing from certain other countries' film industries. So that's Journey to the West, another stunner from Kani releasing. This is number 15. I think I've got one more in my backlog to watch, and then I'll probably do an overview of my Kani collection, even though I'm not Kani complete, but I will try to be, because with the exception of one film, which I'll talk about in the kind of collection overview, that's still good, but because of what it's about, it's perhaps not in my wheelhouse. All the other ones have been either sensational or absolutely brilliant. And as I said, Journey to the West has now become my film of 2024. It's an absolutely beautiful film, as well as being really funny as well. So thanks very much for watching this random review of a film from 2021. I know it's a modern film, it's shocking. But hopefully you'll join me again for more random reviews that might not be from the 2020s. Hopefully. So thanks very much for watching. This is Solitary Ronin from Solitary Ronin Films, saying farewell.